Okay, guys, first strategy meeting at Ferrari. I've been really looking forward to this. So, obviously, we're at the Bahrain Grand Prix today. A little bit of history on the race. As you probably noticed on the way in, we're in the middle of the desert. And little known fact, it hasn't rained since 1974. So, what are we thinking, guys? Tyre strategies, let me have them. Mate, we are not starting on the wets. Hey guys, I'm Aussie Villain and welcome back to our all-Italian Ferrari and Mick Schumacher. Today we have our first race at Ferrari and I'm really looking forward to this. It is Bahrain. I think typically, historically, Ferrari's done okay there, haven't they? Certainly Charles Leclerc has put in some good results. Robbed, of course, of his first win, wasn't he, a few seasons back. Now, we have got 27 million in the bank. Now, what I don't want to do is go ridiculous on upgrading facilities because... that's going to disappear quite quickly. From everything that I've heard and a little bit of experience I have playing the game, you've got to continually be building parts for the cars, which certainly holds things back a little bit. Now, if you did see episode 1, we are doing the weather center straight away. What I want to do is just get a bit of a sense of where we stand on certain things here, and then we might even, when the condition gets down to the point we have to refurbish it, we might start upgrading parts. Then I'd rather have the money at the end of the season to spend than get to the end of the season, need money, and not be able to spend it. So, yeah, that is that. Now, one thing I am wondering is if we're going to have the opportunity to change engines at the end of the year, if we're going to have to do the Ferrari engine. But anyway, a reminder of the team, Giovinazzi as our lead driver, the Italian. Let's see what he can do. And Mick Schumacher will be honorary Italian as... filling in, his dad. His dad was a Ferrari legend, so we're going to see what he can do. Now let's have a look and see what we've got here for performance targets. The Bahrain track, for those of us who aren't aware, is there. So for qualifying purposes, red is Sector 1, blue Sector 2, yellow is Sector 3. It's got a little bit of everything. Real good test of a car, this track, and time considerations there. So 22-second pit stop time loss. Doesn't change that much with a safety car. Expected strategies is it's a two-stop, it's a tire reader, isn't it, Bahrain? So I'm thinking soft, medium, soft is probably the way to go. But we'll see when we get in there. Now the average lap times we can see there. So the soft tire is a lot quicker, isn't it? It really is a lot quicker, and it does degrade, though, at over 1/10 of a second a lap. So, yeah, that is something to consider. Previous race results is not there yet. Yeah, Leclerc won here in real life last year. This year, it was Verstappen, wasn't he? He's won everything. So, yeah, that is that. Powertrain usage is obviously going to be 0. And the new for this game is the DHL fastest pit stops. That's something we can have a little bit of fun with and see if we can go and, yeah, see what we can do on that front. Now, our performance targets. Reach Q3, that is more or less going to have to be a bit of a given, isn't it? That's something that we have to do. We're Ferrari. We've got to be in Q3. Fastest lap we can have a go for. And finishing position, someone in the top 4. I mean, go on, Gio. Let's hope he can do it for us. And qualifying straight, so we need someone in the top 6. Both cars, sorry, in the top 6. That it's going to come down to Mick Schumacher, isn't it? Someone in the top 6 in the race. Let's hope so. I think if we're not doing that, then yeah, we're going to be sacked, aren't we, by the end of the season? But anyway, that is our race preparations done. Let's head off to Bahrain. And confirmation of the weather. There is no rain predicted in the desert, as you would expect. Guys, I'm going to do some free practice, and I will see you momentarily for qualifying. Okay, so free practice is done, and I've got to say, fairly happy with how it's gone. FP1 here, I didn't put in mini for this one. I just thought we'd get Mick Schumacher up to speed. 3rd and 4th, fairly good. Can't complain with that. FP2, a little bit further down in 6th and 7th, but still, roughly where we want to be. And then FP3, it was 4th and 6th. So that is all very, very good news. Hopefully, that's where we can sort of compete through qualifying and the race. Now, we are about to do qualifying. Q1, sorry, shouldn't be a problem. So we'll just confirm that that's going to be the case. And as you can see here, before we head out, 99 set up confidence for Schumacher and 100 for Gio. So that's all looking good. So yeah, let's just confirm that this isn't the problem to get through Q1. And yeah, absolutely no problem at all. We were 3rd and 5th in the end, just did the one run. Perez got himself a penalty, so that's all looking very, very good, isn't it? On to Q2. Alright, and here we go. We are getting ready to do a lap with Giovinazzi, who's currently 5th. Mick Schumacher is 3rd. Now, a couple of things here. Mick Schumacher, unfortunately, it's probably the other thing I've used. We don't have a 3-letter abbreviation for him, and when you see him going around on track, there's no MSC there for him ever. Either, I should say. So it is just a little bit of a disappointment, given that he's not long-term. He's just there till we can get another Italian in the seat. I don't know it's that big of a deal, as Giovinazzi doesn't do better on his first run here, or first sector, I should say, than his first run. But yeah, that is it's all looking okay, isn't it, in terms of where we stand and people behind us that have already finished laps. We will be going through to Q3, and comfortably so, which we should be doing as a Ferrari. Now, a couple of other things. There's a link in the description down there to my Discord, which is a lot of fun. What I will be doing after, I didn't do it for this race, I didn't want to give away spoilers or anything like that, but I'll post free practice times, so if you want to have a bit of a look at stuff like that. Same with the Facebook group. I'll post free practice times to there as well. It's a good way to interact with you guys at the same time. So we finished Q2, 5th and 6th. Ideally, we'll move up, we should move ahead of Perez anyway if we were starting there, but it'd be nice to get ahead of the Aston Martins, wouldn't it? I think that's certainly got to be our goal in Q3. Okay, so we are on board with Mick Schumacher now. First runs, as I always do, were done on used tyres, so we've got 2 fresh sets of soft for the race now. Giovinazzi, Perez, and Alonso pretty much did times that were representative. Everybody else there got blocked. There was a lot of traffic out there the first runs, so I would expect everybody to go a little bit quicker, and indeed, first sector, both our cars have. Now, Mick is last on track. Giovinazzi is just a little bit up the road. There's a few cars between us and him, though. But he is going faster as well. Now, is he going fast enough to get... Oh, Verstappen's finished. Verstappen's going to finish down there in 9th. Possibly even... he should be behind Mick Schumacher, because Mick Schumacher is going faster. Now, he's going to get a nice little drag here behind, or toe, I should say, behind what I think is an Alpine, as Giovinazzi will cross the line. Giovinazzi will stay 4th. Mick Schumacher, though. Mick Schumacher will go 5th. So it is 4th and 5th, plus a Perez penalty. So a very, very promising start. It's going to be an all Aston Martin front row, an all Ferrari second row. And what happened to Max Verstappen in Q3? Absolutely nowhere. Alright, so let's talk race strategy. Now, as I say, we did save 2 sets of softs. I don't see... I mean, you could almost one-stop it, couldn't you? But the degradation is such a big drop-off that I don't... Yeah, you wouldn't actually want to run as far as you could, I wouldn't have thought. But I could just about get on board with this. I would think I might like to get on to that medium tyre, maybe a lap or 2 sooner, look for undercuts. So yeah, I think I might... Oops, no, that one, like that as a strategy for Gio. And to be honest, I don't understand why this is the worst one. Unless we go and stick Mick on the favourite strategy. I don't understand why that is better, though. I mean, I guess if there's a safety car, you can get onto that sooner. So we'll go with that for Mick, see how he can do. But, yeah, I think we're looking fairly good here. Yeah, if we can keep the Red Bulls behind us, we could be on for a podium. All right, welcome back, and here we go. Now, Perez, it was an accident that he got the penalty for, so he's dropped 3 spots, so he's actually split us. We're not necessarily ahead of him. Now, what we would like to do, we are using ERS early on here, is get ahead of one, if not both of these Aston Martins, and, yeah, see what we can do there. So, Mick's actually dropped a spot there to Ocon off the line, which isn't great. He's going to drop another one as well, is he? To Hamilton. So Schumacher's going backwards, which is not ideal. Giovinazzi, though, is held his position and is right there. Mick Schumacher's back to 8th. What is going on, Mick? What is going on? We've got a good launch off that corner, have we? We're ahead of Russell again, but we are still behind Hamilton and Ocon, and that is not ideal. Yeah, for Mick, given that second in the constructors again is where we need to be. I mean, if we look at realistically, Red Bull, and then we're looking to be best of the rest as the Aston Martins are battling up front. Let's hope Stroll does something silly, takes out Alonso, and Gio can just cruise through to the lead. We are ERS deploying first 2 laps, just trying to get as much or as far up the field as we can. Yeah, I mean, the Aston Martins, worryingly, if they are not deploying, look quite quick, don't they? In terms of tyres, I'm assuming everybody's on a soft, as Verstappen's on a hard. So is he looking to one stop? Perhaps. But the hard was so much slower, I don't see how that is going to work, though he is Verstappen in a Red Bull, so it seems like everything works for him, doesn't it? But yeah, Perez is on a medium, which perhaps explains why he is behind us. And yeah, thankfully Mick is not. You can see there what I mean when there's no, what's it called? No, go away. No three-letter thing, and if we go out, I'll show you what I mean from here as well. Mick, it just says 7th, if you can see that. So yeah, we'll let this race develop a little bit. Mick is all over the back of Hamilton. Let's hope he can put a move on him. And yeah, yellow flag there. That's Ricciardo locking up. And Perez has got past Gio. How did he do that? How's he done that? Oh, you know, he's done that DRS down the front straight, hasn't he? We really needed to stick with those Aston Martins, didn't we? Hopefully, we can tag on to Perez and get back up to the back of him. Oh no, virtual safety car. Giovinazzi, what's happened?
Now here, we're taking
He's trying to put a move on Perez.
any room to maneuver.
And has Perez hit him? Well, we'll see who gets the penalty. If Perez has hit him, I've got to say I'm annoyed. So we've got terminal damage to the front wing. So we're going to need, at least he's in the race. So that is something. We will need to bring him in. We will need, the tyres are knackered as well. So realistically, we need to go into a hard tyre here, don't we? Because we're not going to get to the end on anything other. You'll be able to get to the end on just one more stop. And we are going to need car parts. We're going to need to stick a front wing on, so that's happening. Do we have any other damage that we can see? He's got a time penalty as well, so that was given as his fault.
Safety car deployed.
So
Stay positive.
yeah, well, there's not much we can do about it, I suppose. At least he can serve it under the virtual safety car, hopefully, anyway. Okay, so we can try and make the best of a bad situation here. He's a long last, but we can eke this tyre out and then go into a soft anyway. So we'll just have to hope that we can get away with that. The good news is that Perez is out, so one Red Bull down. It should look good for Mick. We can see he's an absolute mile behind. He realistically will need a safety car to get himself back into contention here. And just looking here, the car's a bit of a mess actually. Major suspension damage. I mean, it might even be one. Do we just retire the car? And I mean, major suspension damage is when you're in long last like that. Let's see what sort of lap time he does on a flying lap. On a hard tyre, he's 2 seconds a lap slower. Alright, now Mick Schumacher on the move. He has got past, with the assistance of DRS, the Esteban Ocon Alpine. So that moves him up into 4th. Now what we're going to do from here is go on a bit of a deploy and try and pull away from there we go there, from the Alpine, get onto the back of Hamilton, and then once we do, we might even come in this lap and try and look for an undercut. If we go to our strategy window here, which they've just changed it enough to confuse me. We've got a little bit of tyre to play with there at the end in terms of a medium, so I wonder if, let's go aggressive for one, maybe 2 laps. We'll close up as much as we can as Verstappen has come in. Now what we probably want to do actually is we don't want to get undercut by Verstappen here, do we? So we will come in this lap, we will put on another set of soft tyres, and yeah, well, we'll see if we can avoid that undercut. Ideally we will. Realistically, Verstappen is going to be ahead of us anyway, as we look to put a move on Hamilton using the what's it called? Language words, DRS. Good first impression I'm making, isn't it, if you are new to the channel? You don't just sit there now, Mick. Just sit there. It's fine. It's fine. Let's get this stop done. Let's see what the Ferrari boys can do for us. Thankfully, Hamilton is not coming to the pits, so that's going to help us. Of course, we have DHL fastest pit stop points, 2.6 seconds. Where does that put us in terms of a pit stop time? And also, where does it put us in terms of Max Verstappen? He has undercut us, so he's passed. We've got the second fastest stop, but it wasn't quick enough to get us back out ahead of Max Verstappen. So we will, in all likelihood, need to come in a little bit earlier for that stop. Now, what sort of lap times are we looking at with Giovinazzi here? He's doing 42s. Yeah, I just wonder if it's not quite worth it. Save the car, but something's flashing at me down here. What else? Oh, red flag! Red flag. Now, this is going to help Giovinazzi potentially. What has happened here? Valtteri Bottas.
Tries to get by.
There was a Williams there. I'm not quite sure what Bottas is doing, but we have a red flag anyway. We've got 20 minutes to the restart. Now, is that enough time for us to replace suspension on Giovinazzi's car, I wonder? So this is Giovinazzi, car parts. So you can only do a front wing. That's probably because of Parc Fermé, isn't it? So we get a free set of tyres here. So I think we stick on a medium. And then we can still look to go to the soft towards the end of the race. So this is a huge get out of jail free card for Giovinazzi. So we'll use that to our advantage. And Mick, he's only just come into the pits. There is a fresher tyre available, only just a little bit fresher, but no, we'll just leave it. We'll just leave it. It's probably easier to do that, isn't it? So no changes for Mick. All right, so we go again. Of course, it dawns on me now. I should have put Giovinazzi on a soft tyre for the restart, but anyway, this has definitely thrown the order up into the air, though, hasn't it? Because I mean, look, we've got the Haas's up there in 5th and 6th. Norris is there as well. So cars that hadn't stopped yet have been gifted a very good gift, isn't it? It's a free stop, basically. So that is going to hurt our race massively as well. We do need to try and get Mick past some cars here. We'll go on deploy with both cars. We probably should have been doing that off the start line, to be honest. And yeah, we'll get an idea what Giovinazzi can do as well. Major suspension damage has got to be holding him back, though. That's yeah, I mean, that's not going to be fun to drive, is it? But yeah, well, Mick needs to get past Lando here. Basically, you can already see cars driving away from us up in front there. So we need to get this done as quickly as possible. Please and thank you, Mick. Hopefully, nice drag out of here. He's on a medium tyre, is Lando. I wonder if there's guys trying to get to the end here as well. I mean, if you are, I mean, they're not doing it, but if you are a Haas, surely the temptation must have been stick on a hard tyre under the red flag condition, and you're not making a stop then. That certainly would have been my move if I was, found myself in their situation. But anyway, Verstappen is not driving away in front here. We just need to get this move done, don't we? Because there's going to be a Hulkenberg train, I would suspect. I wonder... I mean, you have to run a medium tyre at some point, don't you? So it's no point speaking these guys are maybe going to the end and outthinking ourselves here, because they have to run it at some point. Mick will be running it, of course, in the final stint. But he needs to get a move done. Come on, Mickey boy. And Giovinazzi, oh, he's dropping off the back of Guan Yu Zhou. There is a big part of me that thinks save the engine. It's just one of these things, you never know what's going to happen though, do you? Come on, surely now with DRS. There we go. Easy as you like. And hopefully now Mick can start to drive away from that McLaren and not get DRS'd back as we go down the front straight. That would be the nightmare, wouldn't it?
It's just a reminder on your eyes.
So we don't want to be doing that. Please, Mick, if you can avoid it. He should be far enough back there, I think. He's gone a little bit defensive. Lando's not catching us, though. And so that should now be that. We'll just deploy up this straight just to make sure that's not going to happen. And there we go. Job done. All right, let's see how far up this field Mick can get. So P8 is in the bag as down the front straight, DRS assisted. We go past Ocon yet again. Seems like we're overtaking Ocon every second lap right now, doesn't it? But well done, Mick. P8 is his. Alright, so a couple of things here. Giovinazzi is currently running around 0.8 of a second slower than everybody else. So I think we are, at this point, just going to retire the car because there's not too much point in continuing here, I don't think. I've just got to figure out how to do that. It's this one.
ways to talk. There are several.
Anyway, I'll figure that out in a second. The other thing is that Mick Schumacher is re-caught and being passed by Ocon. Soft tyres are gone, so we are coming into the pits. We'll be the first car to make the final stop. And of course, what that means is that there's a chance for us to go and get an undercut here. We were not that far away from the two Hasses. So what I would like to do, and we'll see where that pit stop ranks, 6th. Oh, we need to not fall behind Piastri. That's not ideal. That's not ideal at all. Let's go deploy and see if we can... Oh, no, this is a nightmare. This is an absolute nightmare. We should have come in a lap sooner in hindsight, as Guan Yu Zhou has now overtaken us. And any chance of an undercut, we may be just looking at that disappearing here, because, well, we've dropped behind 2 cars that are just much slower than us. Hopefully, we can go and get some overtakes done. Round the outside, nicely done, Mick. Yeah, so that's not ideal. Anyway, I'm going to try and retire the car, figure out how to retire Giovinazzi here in a minute, and we'll let him have the rest of the afternoon off. Alright, so we've retired Giovinazzi, and, well, Hamilton, Stroll, and Hulkenberg have come into the pits. Are we going to get out in front of them? It doesn't look like we are. That is just... It's not worked for Mick, has it? Obviously, we can still overtake on track. That's not the problem. But what I was hoping was going to be a nice, smartly worked, yeah, undercut. We've Ferrari'd it, haven't we? And we've come out in traffic. It's contagious, I tell you, mate. It's absolutely contagious. Okay, so front straight now. We are harvesting because we have no ERS left. I'm hoping that straight will get us into contention, and then this straight will get us past. It may not quite work out like that, but I think a lap of harvest will benefit us longer term, more so than getting past Hulkenberg first lap around. So yeah, we'll do a harvest lap here. Again, oh, Mick, careful, mate. Maybe we won't harvest. We need to get back to within DRS range now. Oh, it's all going a little bit Ferrari, isn't it? Alright, so we find ourselves behind both Hasses now. We do have a little bit of ERS to play with, though, as you can see, so we will look to get these moves done. Now, the problem we're going to have is we're in a Haas DRS train, and there's some slower cars up there as well. Ricciardo and Norris, I'm assuming it is, who may be actually looking to go to the end here. So, I think realistically we're looking at 7th as our best result that we can hope for. If we look at intervals ahead of Norris, we're looking at a 12-second gap to get up to the Aston Martin of Stroll. And unfortunately, that's going to be a little bit too far, I think. Now, actually, that's Norris coming in the pits, so Ricciardo will in all likelihood be coming in as well. It's now a 12 or 13-second gap to Stroll. Can we get this done? Please and thank you. Come on, up the inside of Hulk. Not quite. Not quite. Yeah, the problem we have here, of course, Ocon might need to stop as well, actually, but he is... Well, I mean, we probably have to overtake him again, don't we? We're overtaking him. Yeah, the problem we have is that it's the cars that are up there. You know, we've got 2 Mercedes, 2 Aston Martins ahead of us, an Alpine as well, who may or may not be in a battle with us for the second in the constructors. So yeah, it's not a great start on that front. But if we can get to 7th, have a bad day and come 7th, then that is not the end of the world. As we could be looking at a double overtake here. Ricciardo on the old mediums. That's that done. Nicely done by Mick. If we can run down Magnussen now, which we've got time to do. We have a better car. We should be able to do it. P6. And I think we call that a relatively solid day's work for Mick Schumacher. Yeah, that red flag didn't help us, did it? Alright, so we've got some big news, and that is that Ocon has come into the pits. To be honest, we were going to catch him anyway. His tyres had fallen off a cliff. We did spend a little bit of time behind Hulkenberg recharging our batteries. So we've just got him back on deploy. We are now going to try and deploy ourselves up to the back of K-Mag. We will then try and go past K-Mag up into 6th and hopefully stay there. 10 laps to go, as you can see. Yeah, we are. I mean, yes, we're deploying, but we are definitely faster than K-Mag. And if we look at gaps, yeah, we're not catching Stroll 10 laps. We're not catching an Aston Martin 12 seconds, are we? So certainly not at this stage of our time in at Ferrari. So we've caught up to the back. We will have DRS. The ERS is now empty, but it's done its job, hasn't it? It's got us to where we need to be. And this should be fairly straightforward, I would have thought. Hulkenberg is 2.5 seconds back, so we don't have to worry about him. And, oh, Jesus, Mick. That should be that. We've got DRS again. And, yeah, there we go. Up into P6. Solid stuff. We just need to finish here now. Alright, now we do just have a small concern with 2 laps to go, and that is Esteban Ocon, who is catching us fairly quickly on a new set of tyre. He's catching us at about a second a lap, as you can see there. Now, it should be fine. It should be fine, but of course, well, it's a little bit of extra pressure we would rather we didn't have coming into the final lap of the race. The gap to Stroll has just maintained itself. It's been fairly stable. We do have a little bit of extra petrol we can burn. So, yeah. Coming on to start the last lap, we've got a yellow flag. Now, who is that? Is that a yellow flag? Magnussen has spun. I thought it was a red flag for a second then, which would have made no sense on the last lap of the race, of course. But there we go. Ocon has slowed down a little bit that last lap. So whether he's given up the chase or whether he was deploying to try and get to the back of us. Either way, job well done there from Mick. He's seen off that threat. And as I said, the red flag didn't do him any favours. I think he's done a pretty solid race here. It'll be equal career best, I think. Wasn't it 6th? I think he got with Haas once or twice. Austria, and he had back-to-back 6th places, didn't he? Or certainly, I think it was certainly mid-top 10 anyway. So it's going to be an equal career best for him. Not Giovinazzi's race, but Verstappen has won. Shock horror. Alonso, Russell, Hamilton, Stroll, and then Mick Schumacher, 6th in Bahrain for Ferrari.
Taking it back.
We'll take it. Solid enough.
Good job.
So there we go. Confirmation of the results. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. 8 points. We'll build from that. And yeah, hopefully do a little bit better. So Mick, 6th in the drivers. Obviously, constructors, we are currently 4th. There is a little bit of a gap there, though, isn't there? So we do need to be getting 2 cars to the finish line more often than not to make sure that we do stay in contention for that 2nd place. But Aston Martin, maybe surprisingly, are leading the way after the Bahrain Grand Prix. Pit stops, where do we come here? 7th with Mick Schumacher was the best we managed, so we've got 6 points. 6 points there. McLaren lead the way. We are 5th in that. It means absolutely nothing ultimately, so we don't have to worry about it. But yeah, solid pit stops, consistent as well. And yeah, we'll train them up. We'll get better from that as well. But guys, if you've enjoyed that, make sure you hit thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new. And I will see you for our 2nd race at Ferrari. The next race is going to be at Saudi Arabia, isn't it? The Saudi Arabian Grand Prix should suit the car. So, yeah, let's hope it does. And maybe we can get a double points finish. Take care.